Did you know an 80-year study from Harvard University concluded that the single most important factor for happiness and health isn't money, but the quality of our relationships? And yet, how many times have you seen an interesting person at a coffee shop, at an event, or even in an elevator, and your brain screams, "Say something," but your mouth turns to stone? That invisible wall, that paralyzing awkwardness when it comes to starting a conversation with a stranger, is robbing you of hundreds of amazing potential connections every year. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to give you 5 psychological keys, 5 proven icebreakers, so you can confidently talk to strangers instantly without hesitation. Make sure you watch until the end, because the 5th key is the one that changed the game for me forever. 1. The double-take compliment tactic. This is not a normal compliment. This is a psychological weapon. I vividly remember the first time I tried to start a conversation at a conference. I walked up to a woman and blurted out, "Your shoes are really nice." She just nodded once and turned away, leaving me frozen in my own awkwardness. It was a total failure. The problem was my compliment was too generic, too lifeless. Here's the specific actionable tip for you. Use the stop and turn back technique. This means you walk past them slightly, then suddenly stop, turn back as if something impressive just caught your attention and say, "Excuse me, I know this is random, but I literally had to turn back to say that jacket is an incredible color." Why does it work? Because the act of turning back creates a mini story. It transforms your compliment from a passing comment to a sincere, impossible to ignore acknowledgement. It's like you're handing them an unexpected gift instead of just tossing it in their direction. So here's the contrast. Wrong. "Hey, nice shirt." It's boring. Right. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but I couldn't walk away without saying your style is seriously artistic." 2. The shared context bridge, a basic communication skill everyone needs. This is the safest way for you to overcome shyness naturally. I once tried this in a long line for coffee. I turned to the person next to me and complained, "Wow, it's so crowded today." He just gave me a dead-eyed stare and said nothing. Another failure. Why? Because negativity rarely creates connection. The actionable tip is this. Instead of complaining, turn the shared context into a mini adventure or a fun, unspoken truth you both understand. For example, in the same coffee line, try saying with a smile, "I think we're all participating in this morning's patience challenge, aren't we?" Why does it work? It instantly creates an us space instead of a me and you space. It's like you and they suddenly become teammates on a small mission. You are no longer 2 separate islands. A temporary bridge has just been built. The contrast. Wrong. The Wi-Fi here is so slow. It's negative energy. Right. Finding a strong Wi-Fi signal here is like finding treasure, don't you think? It gamifies the situation. If those last 2 tips gave you a little aha moment, do not hesitate to smash that like button below. It's completely free, and it lets me know we're on the right track. 3. The 5-second favor. This might sound counterintuitive, but asking someone for help is one of the fastest ways to get them to like you. I once tried to apply this mechanically. I asked a stranger at the gym, "Can you show me how to use this machine?" when I clearly already knew how. He gave a quick explanation and walked away. My insincerity was obvious. The specific, actionable tip is ask for a tiny, fast, and genuinely needed favor. For example, "Hey man, could you hold this door for me for just a second?" Or, "Excuse me, could you watch my bag for a moment while I tie my shoe?" Why does it work? This is the Benjamin Franklin effect. When someone does you a favor, no matter how small, their brain justifies it by thinking, "I must like this person to be helping them." You don't just get help, you plant a seed of goodwill in their mind. It's like you're letting them invest a tiny bit of effort into you, and they will naturally want to protect that investment. The contrast. Wrong. Asking for something complicated or fake. Right. Asking for something tiny, genuine, and finishing with a warm thank you. "Thank you so much. You're a lifesaver." 4. The pattern interrupt question. Our brains run on autopilot. How are you? What do you do? It's boring. My cringeworthy memory is at a party where I approached a group and asked the classic, "So where do you all work?" The conversation died within minutes because it felt like a job interview. Here's the tip. Ask an unexpected, interesting question that's slightly related to the context to break their thought pattern. Instead of, "How was your weekend?" try, "What was the most interesting thing you did this weekend?" Instead of, "What do you do for a living?" try, "What part of your job gets you most excited in the morning?" Why does it work? It's like hitting a reset button for their brain. You force them to stop, think, and retrieve a new piece of information instead of giving a canned response. It shows you're genuinely curious about them as a person, not just their social labels. It's how you make making connections easily a reality. The contrast? Wrong. Where are you from? A closed question. Right. This seems like a cool event. What brought you here today? An open question that invites a story. 5. The honest and kind approach. This is the tactic for the brave, but its reward is the greatest. I won't tell a failure story here because the first time I used it, it worked beyond my wildest dreams and led me to one of my best friends. The actionable tip is be honest with confidence and kindness. Walk up, make eye contact, smile, and say, "Hi, I know this is a bit forward, but I noticed you have a really positive energy, and I thought it would be a shame not to say hello. My name is your name." Why does it work? Because in a world full of vague talk and unclear intentions, sincerity is like a breath of fresh air. It shows confidence, respect, and it eliminates all guesswork. You are giving them the gift of clarity. The contrast, wrong, "Hey, can I get your number?" It sounds cliche and has an ulterior motive. Right. Pardon me for interrupting, but I was really impressed with the point you made in the meeting earlier. I just wanted to come say hi. It's specific, sincere, and respectful. So what's your action plan? It's simple. 1. Use the double take compliment. 2. Find a shared context bridge. 3. Execute a 5-second favor. 4. Ask a pattern interrupt question. And 5. When you feel brave enough, use the honest and kind approach. The ultimate goal of this plan is to turn approaching strangers from a fear into a skill. Here is my challenge to you. In the next 24 hours, pick one person and use one of these 5 methods, just once. Your heart will pound, your palms will get sweaty. Good. That's the sign that you're alive, that you're stepping out of your comfort zone. You now have the tools. Starting a conversation with a stranger is no longer an unclimbable mountain, but just a small step you're ready to take. Leave a comment below and let me know, what is the biggest barrier that has held you back from communicating until now? The fear of rejection or not knowing what to say? Share your story. And if you want to keep breaking more invisible limits in your life, hit subscribe and turn on notifications because you won't want to miss our next video. Next week, we're going to decode the 5 body language signs that someone is lying to you. Remember, break limits every day.